Come along, little children, come along. Come while the moon is shining bright. Get on the boat, down the river flow. Gonna raise the roots tonight. Thank you so much there, friends and neighbors. Thank you so much. And never was it truer than when you think of it, that there were people running for President of the United States of America only 2 years ago with a whole lot less encouragement than you've just given us. And I want you to know that for six tired, worn-out egomaniacs up here, I want you to know that you've already made our night as far as we're concerned. We're delighted to be here in 50 years. This is a pretty good thing to get for a 50th anniversary is a crowd like this up at the Mountain Opry. We're mighty glad that all of you turned out. We're going to put on a show for you tonight, and I guess that for those of you who have heard us before, as it goes on, it's going to seem like you may be remembering it, and that we might be doing the same show that we did the last time, and that very probably is right. We've been doing this same show for 50 years, and we're going to give you some idea of how it sounds like after all that time. We're going to start out with one that we start out with most of the time because it gives us an opportunity to clear our throats more than anything else. It's a love song about the fellow that wanted to get married awfully bad because he had a pig at home and didn't have anybody to look after it for him while he was gone. And the name of the song is very appropriately, I've Got a Pig at Home in the Pen. I got a pig home in a pen and a corn to feed him on. All I want is pretty little girl to feed him when I'm gone.
Asked my girl to marry me, what do you think she said? If she had to marry me, she believed she'd rather be dead.
I got a pig home in a pen and a corn to feed him on. All I want is pretty little girl to feed him when I'm gone.
Saw me coming, she wrung her hands and cried, "Here comes the meanest man ever lived or died." When she saw me leaving, she wrung her hands and cried, "Gonna go with the sweetest man ever lived or died."
I got a big home in a pen and a corn to feed him on. All I want is pretty little girl to feed him when I'm gone.
Going on a mountain, gonna sow a little cane, raise a barrel of sorghum, sweet little Liza Jane.
I got a pig home in a pen and a corn to feed him on. All I want is pretty little girl to feed him when I'm gone.
Dark clouds rising, sure sign of rain. Put your old gray bonnet on, sweet little Liza Jane.
I got a pig home in a pen and a corn to feed him on. All I want is pretty little girl to feed him when I'm gone. All I want is pretty little girl to feed him when I'm gone. Well, thank you so much there, friends, and that was Fletcher Bright on the lead vocals. And Fletcher, I must say that I have never heard you do it that well.
Thank you.
And that's kind of a shame when you think of it, I guess. We are delighted to have been able to do this for as long as we have. For 50 years now, we've been going all over this part of the country wearing these silly hats and singing with pained expressions. Somehow or another, if it song doesn't look like it hurts, it just can't have a whole lot of meaning to it. And so we do try and put everything we've got into it. Like this next number that we're going to do for you now. It's a song that we learned, it's one of our newer songs, to tell you the truth. We learned it about 20 years ago. We can't remember words to songs nowadays, and it makes it hard in this business. And so what we do, we get Ansley to put the words down on the side of the bass, and he's got them all over there in alphabetical order. And when I read off the name of the song, why, he then looks it up there, and as we sing, Mose will read the words off the side of the bass there, and we'll read his lips, and it, for all the world, seems like we remember the words to these things. Going to give you an opportunity to see how it works with this one. It's called My Blue Ridge Mountain Home.
There's a well-beaten path on this whole mountainside where I wandered when I was a lad. I wandered alone to the place I call home in the blue red hills far away. Oh, I love those hills of old Virginia. From those blue red hills I did roam. When I die, won't you bury me on the mountain far away in my blue red mountain home? And my thoughts wander back to that ramshackle shack in old blue red hills far away. My mother and dad were laid there to rest, they're sleeping in peace together there. Oh, I love those hills of old Virginia. From the blue red hills I did roam. When I die, won't you bury me on the mountain far away in my Blue Ridge mountain home? I returned to that old cabin home with a sigh. I was longing for days gone by. When I die, won't you bury me on this whole mountainside? Make my resting place upon the hill so high. Oh, I love those hills of old Virginia. From the blue red hills I did roam. When I die, won't you bury me on the mountain far away in my Blue Ridge mountain home? Oh, I love those hills of old Virginia. From the blue red hills I did roam. When I die, won't you bury me on the mountain far away in my Blue Ridge mountain home?
Well, folks, down through the years, I guess one of the things that maybe distinguishes us from a good many other bands is that I seem to talk a lot during the shows, and I can only suggest that if I didn't talk as much, this band would have to go out and learn some new songs in order to get to the end of these things. Our repertoire is somewhat limited. I ought to introduce the band to you for those of you who have never met them. Fletcher Bright over there is the Southern States fiddle champion. That's not necessary. You don't have to applaud. None of our other crowds does, and I don't see why we ought to expect you to. Fletcher is a Southern States fiddle champion of quite some many years ago. He has not done all that well since then, but and I guess we sort of make fun of each other, and I sort of kid Fletcher down through the years. We used to introduce him as having begun using a new miracle hair restoration product that he was working on, and said that if it worked on him, it would be sold down at Holcomb's Garden Center. And and then we introduced him there for a while as a fellow that had lost his mind a year and a half ago, but no one noticed it because it had just been so subtle. But he is the Southern States Fiddle Champion. We'll let you hear from him in a minute. Angela Moses over here is, we used to introduce Moses as the boy that had been wearing the Playtex girdle ever since Betty had found it in the glove compartment of the automobile. And so Betty came up to me there after one of these shows and said, you know, if you don't mind, I wish you'd quit introducing Mose that way. And so we did. And after that, we introduced him as the only legally deaf entertainer on the American stage, and had suggested that his ears were, for all practical purposes, purely ornamental. And that if we ever got a little ahead, we were going to get him a hearing ear dog that would bite him when it was his turn to sing, something like that. But Moses, he's the mayor of the town of Lookout Mountain, and if any of you ever get in trouble up there, well, I mention his name, and I'm sure everybody up there will know who you're talking about. I'm Frank McDonald, and as I say, I have been doing an awful lot of talking down through the years, and maybe tonight, after we get through these introductions, I'll speed it up a little bit. We've got Mike Parham over here. Mike is a talented guy. He plays every instrument that you see on stage up here. And we felt that at our age, we ought to consider the fact, at least, that one of us might be called in the middle of a performance like this. And if that were the case, if it did happen, then God forbid, but you know, you got to think, and Mike would simply walk over and pick up the instrument off of the lately departed, and the show would go on to its ultimate conclusion with no one the worse for it, except probably the lately departed, maybe. But so Mike is over there playing the mandolin tonight, patiently waiting on his shot at one of the big-time musical instruments. And then there's little Doc Cullis over there. Doc is the fastest five fingers in orthodontistry. We kid him a lot, of course, about being short. I mean, that'd be the first thing that would come to your mind. And we talk about the Coca-Cola case that he ordinarily carries around with him so he can get up there with everybody else, and talk about the fact that he smoked a lot back in the 7th, 8th, and 9th grades, and that sort of stunted his growth back there when it meant something. And he topped out at a pretty early age, and he is up here tonight as big as he will ever be. We believe he... And then over there on the end, we've got Mike Castleberry. Mike gave up a career in professional eating in order to... and was doing rather well with it, I might add. And but he got an opportunity to do our sound and drive the bus, and so he signed on, and we're mighty glad to have Mike with us. He married one of the Pinion girls, of course, one of Boxcar Pinion's girls, and they will, of course, be entertaining at the Boxcar Pinion Memorial Concert out there in May, out there on the lake somewhere. You go out there, just follow the cars. That's where it'll be. Well, that's the band, and right now, though, it's a real privilege for me to present to you one of the finest musicians that this band has on stage with it at the moment. Fletcher Bright, a fellow that represented the great state of Tennessee down at the championships down at Lake Lanier. and it's a fiddle championship down there, and but for the grace of God and two pretty sorry fiddle players, he would have come in dead last down there. But he took it on the chin, and he keeps fighting back. We're going to ask Fletcher to come up here and play for
All right, thank you so much,
one
Frank.
of his old fiddle tunes.
Thank you so much. And it's been said many times that Frank McDonald's tongue is mighty glad when that jaw goes to sleep every night. We've played a lot of fiddle tunes. These boys never have learned the chords to most of them, but they know this one pretty well, I think, because we've played it an awful lot. But it's one of my favorites, and so I hope it'll make you pat your foot a little bit. It's called Sally Gooden. Sal and I went blackberry picking all, got drunk. Sal got a licking, had a piece of pie, had a piece of pudding, and I give it all away to the Sally Gooden.
Well, folks, there went a guitar string, which is puts us in the hole. I don't know if any of you are familiar with the way they pay people up here, but we found out many years ago that it'll disappoint you. I would say this, though. I saw some cameras going off out there, and I think it's about time to tell you folks what our policy is with regard to pictures and things like that. If you want to take our picture, you just go right ahead with a still camera, with a camcorder. If you've got a tape recorder out there, why, just let her roll. We don't have any problem with any of that stuff. The only thing that we ask is that if you ever sell any of that stuff to anybody, we would like to know who you sold it to, because we have some other memorabilia that we think that they might be interested in. To give you some idea, we have pictures up here for those of you who feel that you've left your camera at home and are missing out on a perfect opportunity here for a photo. Why, we do have photos. They're available. We have them up here on this table right up front. These are the pictures that we used to sell for $1 back some time back. We didn't really sell them we priced them for $1 is what it was. And, we have begun giving these pictures away, and it's made a difference.
Oh, they're moving, aren't they? Those things are moving now.
I think that's the one you need right there.
Well, it's not.
So please feel free to come up and get it. Many of you will probably get through before we do here tonight, and if that's the case, why, you can just come up here and get it on your way out. They are available for just judging the crowd and the pictures we brought in unlimited quantities. I don't think there'll be any problem there. So please feel free to come up and get these pictures.
Go blind.
They've got to get their glasses out over there. We had to get up here a little early. These are monitors up here, and they're hearing aids. And as we've gotten older, we find that is completely necessary. And while they're doing that, I might just go ahead and tell you about one of our special merchandise offers that we have that is available here tonight. Some years ago, when we felt like we had to do something in order to make it to the big time, because what we were doing obviously was not getting us there, we went out and made ourselves an album, just like all the other big-time stars, and this is the album. It's entitled The Dismembered Tennesseans Singing Their Greatest Hits. It's a picture on the front of us standing up here just like we are right now on the stage of the Mountain Opry. And many of you would wonder what great hits we've got on this album. And I'll tell you that there's songs like Faded Love, Bringing in the Georgia Mail, Sweetheart, You've Done Me Wrong, and of course that ever popular and old-time favorite, Groundhog. They're all on here with many, many more that what I'm sure will be favorites when you listen to them. It's a long play album, not nearly as long play as it's going to seem before you get through listening to it, but nonetheless a long play album. An album that you'd expect to pay from $7.50 to $8.95 in any of the record stores. We're getting $10 for this album, friends, and I can only explain it this way, that when you consider the pain and the suffering and the toil that we went to making this thing, you'll understand that $10 is nothing more than a free will contribution towards helping this band get out from under what has turned out to be the worst mistake we have ever made. An album that unwittingly has turned out to be theft-proof. None have been reported missing in the 3 years that we've been selling the thing. And I believe you could leave this album lying in the front seat of an unlocked automobile and come back 4 days later and you'll find this album right there where you left it. Now your car may be jacked up on cinder blocks, and they may have forcibly removed the radio from the dash panel, but I can tell you that the album is right there where you want it. We also have an unlimited supply. Well, they're moving. I tell you what, that's 2 less albums we're going to have to try and sell. The albums are available up here on the desk up front. We've also got them in the handy little cassettes that you can stick into your record player there on your automobile and listen to it on the way home. They're all just $10, whatever, except for the pictures. They're free. Well, everything else you see up there is just $10 each, whatever it is. And there's a box up there. And so what you do, you just put your money in the box and take whatever it is. And so that's the way that works. Well, now then, we're back in business. One of the songs that we've done down through the years that is, it's just a pretty song. We're going to do it for you right now. It features the vocals of Moses. Sings lead vocals in the church choir. And that's, of course, going to be day after tomorrow. Tonight, though, he's going to get up here and sing for you one that's called Faded Love.
As I look at the letter that you wrote to me, it is you that I am thinking of. As I read the line that to me was so sweet, I remember our faded love. I miss you, darling, more and more every day, as heaven would miss the stars above. With every heartbeat I still think of you and remember our faded love. As I think of the past and all the pleasures we had, as I muse the mating of the dove, it was in the springtime that you said goodbye. I remember our faded love. I miss you, darling, more and more every day, as heaven would miss the stars above. With every heartbeat I still think of you and remember our faded love.
You know, you go to enough places, well, you get, first thing you do, you get your price down, and that will get you a lot of work, we found out. As a matter of fact, I think that we have probably epitomized cheap entertainment around this town for all of these 50 years. Maybe we have been holding the price down, whatever. They read the resolution, and I'm still not sure what that thing said. It said, whereas we had been playing for 50 years, and whereas we are who we are, they resolved something. And then, so help me, I read back over it, and I still don't think I understand it. I told them, I said, it's not that we didn't appreciate it. We would maybe have liked something like color TV or something like that, but that and when it came to the vote, of course, the big concern is whether it would be unanimous or not. And as it turns out, why, they did not call for the no votes. And so I guess to that extent it was unanimous. And so we'd like to send out a song here to Claude Ramsey and Paul McDaniel and all the other county commissioners here. And we're going to ask Angeline Fletcher to come up and to reach way, way back to about 1950, 51, when they were going to school. While they had a radio show back then. We sort of split up at that time in our lives and came back after school. They had a radio show, and they did a song on it that we're going to ask them to do here tonight. We'll dedicate this number to the entire county commission. It's one that's called I'm My Own Grandpa.
Many years ago when I was 23, I was married to a widow who was pretty as could be. This widow had a grown-up daughter who had hair of red. My father fell in love with her and soon they two were wed. This made my dad my son-in-law and changed my very life. My daughter was my mother first, she was my father's wife. To complicate the matter, even though it brought me joy, I soon became the father of a bouncing baby boy. My little baby then became a brother-in-law to Dad, and so became my uncle, though it made me very sad. For if he was my uncle, then that also made him brother of the widow's grown-up daughter, who of course was my stepmother. I'm my own grandpa. I'm my own grandpa. It sounds funny, I know, but it really is so. For I'm my own grandpa. Now father's wife then had a son who kept him on the run, and he became my grandchild, for he was my daughter's son. My wife is now my mother's mother, and it makes me blue, because although she is my wife, she's my grandmother too. Now if my wife is my grandmother, then I'm her grandchild, and every time I think of it, it nearly drives me wild. For now I have become the strangest case you ever saw. As husband of my grandmother, I am my own grandpa. I'm my own grandpa.
It worked out, didn't it?
Sure did. Paul.
Trying to get another band together, so he said play as long as you like.
Well, while we still got a crowd here before it begins to thin out, which I suspect it will right after this next number, I do want to tell you about another merchandise offer we had. The record is no secret, be up front about that. That thing is not doing well. Never did do well, and it's not getting any better. I guess you would say that sales have been steady. Well, when you get to be our age and you really would like to go somewhere, and it's not happening, well, you know you got to do something. And when the records don't work, we thought about a girl singer, but I talked to our wives about that, and not very long, I'll say, but so we're having to do it the hard way. What we did, we went out and made ourselves a T-shirt. For those of you that are into T-shirts, why, this one is a dandy, and it on the front of it's got a picture of the band. up here in full color, and down underneath it, it says Dismembered Tennesseans. That's us. And good, cheap entertainment. I guess that describes us about as well as anything else. We figured, though, that as many tacky crowds as we play for as we go across this country, this shirt, as you see it, would never quite catch on. And so on the back of it, we put the saying, bluegrass music sung from the heart through the nose. I don't know what it sounds like out there, folks, but back here where we are, that's pretty much it right there. The shirt sells for the same lousy $10 that all of these records sell for. I guess the big advantage to the T-shirt, and probably the secret of its current but temporary success, is that you simply don't have to listen to a T-shirt to enjoy it. It's a pretty nice T-shirt, and we've got the table stacked up here, and they're $10, just same as everything else. And so if you're needing a T-shirt before you go home, why stop up by here and just help yourself. By the way, would everybody in the audience that has on a Dismembered Tennesseans T-shirt please stand up? There's one. There was another one back here somewhere. There he is, right back there in the back. Well, you can see they're catching on. It's not just a T-shirt, it's a fashion statement. Well, all right. Little Doc Cullis is over here, and we went through a show one time and never called on Doc Cullis to do anything, and we like to never got his lips straightened out. His mother was there that night, and so we have to be, because she may be here tonight, and so we do want to put Doc on. Doc has got a number that's in his mind right now. I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, if he'll tell us, we will try and play the same thing.
They give me a little more monitor on that.
He says Shenandoah Valley Breakdown, and with a little luck, we'll all wind up at the same time. There you have him, little Doc Cullis. I just happen to think all these people sitting back behind us, they are hearing the same thing we're hearing. And I can only tell you that it doesn't last too long. When it starts hurting your teeth, you just sort of grit them there, and it goes away, particularly when the fiddle plays. I've noticed it happens. Well, now then, we're going to do a song for you now that really is one of our later songs. Learned it 5-6 years ago. Going to do it for you now. It's one that's called Long Gone.
Long gone is how I'm leaving. Long gone, why do you cry? This is what you wanted, baby. So gone, long gone. I tried to make you happy, instead you saying I've done you wrong. Oh, I'm giving up, my darling, so I'm gone, long gone. Long gone, long gone is how I'm leaving. Long gone, why do you cry? This is what you wanted, baby, so I'm gone, long gone. Please don't try to overtake me. When I ride, it's just too fast. This is it, we're through forever. Long gone, I'm free at last. Long gone is how I'm leaving. Long gone, why do you cry? This is what you wanted, baby. So gone, long gone. Please don't shed no tears at parting, for your tears cannot atone. After all the pain you've caused me, I'm gone, long gone. Long gone, long gone is how I'm leaving. Long gone, why do you cry? This is what you wanted, baby. So gone, long gone. So gone, long gone.
Well, there are some of you, I'm sure, that are wondering where we will be going from here, where you can hear us next, where you might catch another one of our big shows. And I've got to very honestly tell you that this is it. We don't have anywhere to go from here. If any of you have any ideas about where a band might be needed, why, we have begun to come into homes now. And so if any of you have anything at all going, why, we're certainly available. Now then, they said that we didn't have to hurry if we didn't want to.
I think they might have.
Yeah, I think there's some of them out here might. Well, we'll do that one next. Can't remember the name of the song. Huh? Yeah, we'll do. Yeah. We'll get the fiddle player up here, and we're going to play one that if you can stay awake through this one, it's going to say an awful lot about your constitution. I think we're going to ask the fiddle player to come up and play a song from the PBS series on the Civil War. We called it Civil War song. I think it's the Oshkosh Farewell or something like that. They played it 15 times. 15 nights, I guess, 2 hours a night. And along about the 12th or 13th in the series, why, he felt like maybe he had caught on to it. And so
Yes, sir, I caught on to it, but I don't believe you've ever caught on to the chorus.
Well, we're going to find out here in just a few minutes. It's not all that good. It's not all that good, sure enough. He's only playing one note at a time, and for all the world could care, he might just as well be playing a clarinet. Well, all right. We're getting down a whole lot closer to the end of what we are going to do than we are to the beginning, and I'm sure that many of you are going to find some relief in that. We've got a song, though, that we are going to sing for you now that we're in the process of cutting an album, yet another album, and that takes guts when you got as many of these things as we've got to go out there and try and throw something else with it. I think that we're talking about it. I think we're going to call it the Dismembered Tennesseans, their final album, Volume 1. And sort of leaves you with the door open there a little bit, and we're going to put this song on it, and may surprise you when you hear it. But nonetheless, this is the way it sounds when you sing the Wabash Cannonball.
From the great Atlantic Ocean to the wide Pacific shore, from the Greenland's icy mountains to the Southland by the shore, she's mighty tall and handsome, don't quite well know. She's a combination on the Wabash Cannonball. Listen to the jingle of the rumble and the roar as she glides along the woodland, wheels and by the shore. In the mighty rush of the engine and the lonesome hobo call, we're traveling through the jungle on the Wabash Cannonball. based in states and beats, all the people say. From New York to St. Louis and Chicago, by the way. From the hills of Minnesota where the rippling waters fall, no changes can be taken on the Wabash Cannonball. Listen to the jingle, the rumble and the roar, as you glide along the woodland, hills and by the shore. Hear the mighty rush of the engine, that lonesome hobo call. We're traveling through the jungle on the Wabash Cannonball. Now she come down from Birmingham one cold and summer day. As she rode into the station, you could hear all the people say, there's the gal from Tennessee, she's long and she's called. She come down from Birmingham on the Wabash Cannonball. Listen to the jingle, the rumble and the roar, as you glide along the woodland, hills and by the shore. Hear the mighty rush of the engine, that lonesome hobo call. We're traveling through the jungle on the Wabash Cannonball. This here's the last verse, Mick.
Sure hope so, Mose.
Now here's the Daddy Claxton man named Bubba Stan, and always be remembered around the ports of Alabama. His earthly race is over, and round him curtains fall. We'll carry him home to Dixie on the Wabash Cannonball. Listen to the jingle, the rumble and the roar, as you glide along the woodland, hills and by the shore. Hear the mighty rush of the engine and the lonesome hobo call. We're traveling through the jungle on the Wabash Cannonball. We're traveling through the jungle on the Wabash Cannonball.
I think, you think so? Let's do Ernest Johnson in case they don't let him on.
Well, folks, I'm being told that, you know what, 50 years in this business, you get to where you can look out into an audience and you can see those faces out there that have those expressions that say somebody out here needs some relief. In the comic section, they put X's over their eyes when they get that way, and I've already seen a half a dozen pairs of X's out there, and I guess maybe you are entitled to some relief. I don't know what you say after 50 years of this. We've said just about everything except the fact that sometimes we don't stop to realize how much part of this thing our wives are. And we've got some of them here tonight. They have put up with, quite frankly, an awful lot from us. We go out to these country music things and come dragging in late. They've been sitting home all night. Every now and then they'll come with us just so they can see what it is that goes on, and they find out that that's not all that much fun. And so I got to say that to our wives and to our children, that we got to say we appreciate everything that you all have done to help us stand up here and be egomaniacs. We need it, and we appreciate you letting us do it. When we come to the end of these shows, we got to realize there are many of you that have never been up this close to any real big-time live entertainment and might want to come backstage after the show for autographs and to hear what we talk about after a big show like this and to see us change into our street clothes. We're I guess I'm going to have to tell you tonight we're wearing our street clothes, so that... But we do want you to come back there and to give us an opportunity to show you that we can be just ordinary people just like anybody else. I guess would like for you to know that standing up here in front of a crowd like this is it's a privilege, a pleasure, an education, and a sheer experience to stand up here and do it. And if any of you ever get the chance, I highly recommend it. We like to think of it as not goodbye, but just so long until next time. And until we see you again, each and every one, we'd like to remind you.
Keep on the sunny side, always on the sunny side. Keep on that sunny side life. He'll help you every day you're bright. No day. Keep on that sunny side life. Oh, keep on that sunny side, always on the sunny side. Keep on that sunny side life. He'll help you every day you're bright and always. Keep on that sunny side life.
Well, thank you so much. We'd like to welcome you back to the second big half of the show. We'll let the fiddle player come up and saw his way into your hearts with one that is called the Orange Blossom Special.
I'm going down to Florida. Get some sand in my shoe. Or maybe California. Get some stardust in my shoe. Ride that orange blossom special and lose these Chattanooga blues.